After you come back from a major trip, you probably have a few things that you think you did incorrectly and something you regretted and you would never ever do again. And of course, you probably have a lot more things that you think you did perfectly, and then if you were ever to go back to that same destination again, you probably would do it again. Hi friends, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. I've been back from my summer trip to China for a few months now, and there are a ton of things that I would like to catch you up on. But in today's video, I'm gonna share with you the 8 things that I think I did perfectly when I was in Beijing, and if I were to go back to Beijing, I would do these same things over again. So if you are planning your very first trip to Beijing, China, hopefully this video will help you out. And let's just get started with the very first thing. The first thing that I would do again if I ever had a chance to go back to Beijing is to stay at the hotel that I stayed at. And if you missed some of the vlogs that I had uploaded previously, make sure you go check it out. I will link it in the description box below. But me and Ricky stayed at the Grand Hyatt Beijing for 5 nights when we were in Beijing, and it was probably the best hotel experience that we've ever had experienced. Although now that I think about it, it's probably tied between the Grand Hyatt Beijing and then the Hilton Tokyo that we stayed at last year. They come pretty close, but this hotel was just 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And let me kind of share with you the reason why I think it's great. So number one, like I said, it was one of the best hotels experience. Our room was very, very spacious, and the location is also pretty prime because it is inside a mall. And then when you walk outside, when you're at the mall area, you can actually go all the way to the end of the mall and you can enter the subway station from inside the mall. So it was just really perfect, and it is super easy to get around when we stayed here because the subway station is literally about maybe an 8 to 10 minute walk from our hotel. It is also right next to the Wangfujing area, which is, if you don't know and if you haven't done your research about Beijing, it is kind of like a pedestrian street. There's actually a few malls and department stores and a lot of stores. So if you're into shopping, if you like to try out a lot of different food, this area is the best. The second thing that I would do again in Beijing is to use Alipay basically for every single thing. If you watch a couple of my videos about how I prepare for my trip to China, one of the things that I know I need to prepare is to download all of the basically apps that I would need while I travel throughout China. And one of the things that I feel like everybody highly recommend is to download Alipay to pay for everything and anything in China. If you don't know this, China has basically become cashless for a while, I think. I'm not sure really when Alipay and WeChat became a thing as a payment method in China, but everybody uses Alipay. And because Alipay has so many other things, I would highly recommend to use Alipay as your app in China. Let me know in the comment below if you have paid for your hotel with Alipay before. I'm pretty sure we did pay with points and also credit cards for our hotel. But other than that, you can actually request a ride share from the app. Usually you can either request like a private driver, or it will also give you the official taxi, which we have tried a couple times in Beijing and it was perfect. They actually would verify if you are you by asking the last, I believe, 2 digits of your phone number that you use in Alipay. So I felt pretty safe when I was taking the taxi and also the rideshare in Beijing. And the other thing that I love about Alipay is you can actually get yourself verified and you can connect your credit card from Alipay for the subway metro card in Beijing. So it was super easy for us to hop on and off the subway system in Beijing. You just basically scan your QR code at the gate when you go in and then scan it again when you leave the station. It was just very, very convenient. And last but not least, you can also use Alipay to scan the menus at most restaurants in Beijing. They don't really have paper menu anymore, so Once you get seated in a table or on a table, there is a QR code specifically for your table. You scan it and then you get to see all of the menus that they have. And the amazing thing about Alipay is that there is a translate button on the app. So anytime you scan something that is in Chinese and you do not read Chinese like I do, you can translate it right away. WeChat has similar feature with the website of a menu or something like that, but the translation button is not always there. So I prefer Alipay to scan menus because it will always translate for me. So I just love Alipay so much, and I would highly recommend for you to download Alipay and kind of figure out how to use it before you land in China. Before moving on to the next thing in the video, I just want to interrupt this video really quickly just to invite you to subscribe to my channel. I think 98% of you who are watching my video is not a subscriber, and I would love it for you to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future videos about Japan, about cruising, travel hacking, and so much more. I hope to see you on the next one, and now let's get back to the video. The third thing is actually something that I already kind of went over because I was so excited about Alipay, but that is to actually set up the Metro card inside Alipay. Maybe I will make a separate video about it because it's a little bit complicated to just share with you in the next minute or two, but basically you want to verify yourself by uploading your passport and the number and everything, and then you can create a QR code inside Alipay for a Beijing Metro card. I'm pretty sure there are other ways to do it if you don't want to do it through Alipay. I have seen people actually buy one of those tokens in the machine before they head into the subway. I just think it's pretty complicated, or it's just not convenient, because if you are trying to catch the subway to go somewhere with a time ticket, you just want to swipe in and out pretty quickly. So I would highly recommend doing it through Alipay. The next thing that I would do again is to bring a pack of facial tissue or just tissue paper with you at all times. And that is because sometimes the bathroom in China does not have toilet paper for you. Before talking about the next 4 things that I would do over again if I were able to travel back to Beijing, I want to invite you to watch some of the videos that I have actually already uploaded to YouTube about planning my trip to China and all of that. I actually even have a couple vlogs that I've uploaded. Everything will be linked in the description box below, so make sure to check it out. The next thing that I would do over again in Beijing, and honestly if you are traveling throughout China, is to always have your passport with you. I know there are a lot of different advice and recommendations about bringing your actual passport with you. Some people say to leave it at the hotel safe and bring copies with you, but in my opinion, if you are traveling throughout China, I would highly recommend just to have your actual passport books with you, because that is your actual ID when you are traveling internationally. Some might accept your driver's license, but again, passport is the official ID for you when you are traveling internationally. And the thing is, in China, they do have random ID checks, especially if you are going everywhere with the subway. I think I probably have encountered 2 or 3 ID checks when we were exiting the subway to go to our attractions or the things that we are planning to do for the day. And everybody obviously have their local Chinese ID. And because we're not Chinese citizens, we have to show the police our passports. And to be honest with you, it is just super easy to bring it. You probably need it anyway to go into some of the attractions in Beijing. All of them will require you to show your passport, because when you do purchase those tickets, even if you are purchasing through a local group tour or if you're doing it yourself at the official government website, they will ask for your passport number and name on your passport, and they will definitely need it to match it up with a ticket when you do go to those attractions. So make sure to bring your passport with you. And I know you are risking losing it when you are out and about, but just be careful. Make sure that you check it every so often during the day to make sure that it's there, because it is very important to have it with you at all times. The next thing that I would do again, especially if I am going to Beijing in the summer, is to buy a UV umbrella at any of the convenience stores in China. I feel like in the US, it's not really the norm to use umbrella when it's not raining, aka when it's sunny and it's hot. I feel like people tend to just use a hat or not even using a hat at all. But in China, I think it's very normal for you to be covered up from head to toe in the summer because nobody likes to be sunburned, and umbrellas are just a thing. Everybody has an umbrella with them in China. In the subway, you see people carrying an umbrella, and definitely once you get outside, once you get off the subway station, everybody would open their umbrella up, especially because we were there in the summer. I have no idea how that is because we do see a lot of trees, a lot of greens, but for some odd reason, at a lot of those UNESCO websites, none of that place have any shades at all. So make sure if you don't want to bring an umbrella from home, go to 7-Eleven or go to any of the convenience store and get a UV umbrella. It is pretty affordable. It's actually pretty cheap there. And there are small ones that you can just put into your day pack or even in your pocket and just carry it around with you. All right, number 7, things that I would do again if I were to go back to Beijing is to wear my Dr. Scholl's shoes. I think this pair of shoes was going viral on TikTok, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago. And I think they did go viral for a reason. They are actually really, really comfortable, and you don't really need to break the shoes in before you travel. I actually did buy my Dr. Scholl's shoes probably about a month or 2 before we went to China for the summer, and I did kind of wear it around the house. When I walk on my treadmill, I did use it just so I would break it in by the time we go to China. However, I don't think I really break it in that much. And to be honest with you, once I use it to walk throughout like my time in China, my feet were fine and everything just went really smoothly, I guess. It was just perfect. So I would highly recommend getting these Dr. Scholl shoes. I will leave on the screen like which one it is because honestly, I kind of forget what the actual name is. I will also link it below so you can buy it if you want to, but I would highly recommend getting these shoes. Last but not least, and I feel like not a lot of people actually would do this, but do your own tour and not go on group tour. Now, I feel like if it is your first time ever, it might be helpful to book a group tour because I think when you do a group tour for places like Forbidden City and Summer Palace, you probably would have better understanding about the whole place, why it's there, who used to live there, what was it used for and stuff like that, how old they were. But to be honest with you, you can definitely do all of those research before you go to China. And if you don't want to do all of the research, you can definitely book a local guide, or you can just wing it like us and kind of learn on the go. But in my opinion, actually going around in Beijing, it was actually pretty easy. And I think I mentioned it in my previous video before, but Apple Map is gonna be your best friend, especially if you are taking the subway system in Beijing. And I think I did show you the Beijing subway system like map, and it was crazy chaotic looking, and I know you probably get a little nervous since you can't really view the direction if you are not inside China because it just wouldn't work. But to be honest with you, everything is just so easy. There are a ton of information on the internet, and even when you get there, like I said, everything was so easy, from ordering food, going going on the subway system, picking up like a taxi from Alipay. I honestly was just very impressed. I cannot wait to go back to China again, hopefully in the near future, because I love how efficient everything is, and I just miss the food. I miss the boba. I miss my amazing room in Grand Hyatt Beijing. Anyways, I hope this video is somewhat helpful. I just want to share with you some of the things that I did, I think, pretty perfectly and make my trip to Beijing pretty smooth and pretty seamless. Let me know in the comment below if you have been to Beijing before and some of the things that you think you did perfectly that you feel like everybody else can benefit from. And if you have any other tips, maybe from your other trip, not to Beijing, not to China, leave them in the comment below as well. I would love to read some of the things that you did that is perfect that maybe I can do on my next trip. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and I will see you on the next one. Bye!